Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I have a very cool review impressions of a knife that I got in a pass around. And now I actually have two of them, two different variants of the same knife. This is a Nick Riggi design. I'll have the link in the description down below, but he designed this and it is available now. You have a stonewashed and you have a bead blasted right here, right? So both of these are two variants of the same knife, titanium handles. A nice beautiful drop point right here. We'll do some measurements in a second, but we'll just talk a little bit about the design and everything. It is cage ceramic ball bearings in there. The action's really nice. It's a frame lock, you can see, with a milled deep pocket carry clip. The clip is really nice for in and out. Goes right along the lock bar. This is nice and smooth right here. The action is beautiful. Nice cutout to the frame lock, works really great. So you just as long as you get that past the detent ball, and the detent ball, let's see where that is. So here, so you get right, I'm gonna say right there's the detent. Once you clear that, you are good to go. I don't think there's no, there's not a ramp or anything. No, it's not, but it's pretty smooth going over there. So some people will like, I mean, can you fail this? Yeah, I think you can. It is one means of deployment. It's a flipper, and the flipper works pretty well. And this works well as a push button. You can do the light switch. I think the push button is just a little nicer. You get just a little stronger presentation. But the nice thing is, it is a flat grind. Goes all the way up to here. And I think, if I remember correctly, yeah, I could easily middle finger reverse flick it. So that does reverse flick pretty nicely, so you can middle finger reverse flick this one. If I get in here, let me see if I can do this again. There we go. Left-handed, it's very possible, so that's nice. Okay, it does have some jimping on the top. It's kind of aesthetic there, jimping. Is it functional? I mean, I guess you push really hard, it might give you some sort of resistance to slip, but if you're wet or anything, it's not going to really hold you up. It's more of an aesthetic. I think it's not really functional jimping. You got 4 inches on the handle, so we'll talk a little bit about all those measurements in a second, but it's nice and rounded all the way across with this titanium. There's some milling, as you can see inside, beautifully weight relief. So all that stuff in the materials is great. All T8 screws all the way around, which I like a lot. So as far as materials, it's really nice and very smooth. You get pretty deep carry. It's not all the way super deep carry, but relatively deep carry, pocket carry there, so that's nice. I like the blade. Definitely has a small swedge at the top, a little itty bitty swedge, kind of a sort of I want to be swedge. So I guess it is a full flat grind, because technically that's a swedge, right? I think in the production version it's not as gray. I think it's more of a silver version here. That pivot is a little different. It is captive pivot. I love all the T8, so that's something to consider. All right, so talking about the blade steel, we are looking at CPM 20 CV blade steel, which is nice. I do like that 20 CPM blade steel, which means it's like a premium M390 type of class of steel, which is kind of cool. The opening and closing is pretty nice. I love the buttery action when it drops. So here's this one, and you can see the buttery action works really nicely as well over here, right? So you get over here, and nice flick on that one as well. So I like that a lot. Easy to middle finger reverse flick it. So all that stuff, the opening closing is great. It is limited to flipper, and like I said, you can do the middle finger. If I can get in there. Well, I thought I was just doing it right. There we go. Middle finger reverse flick and regular flick. So that does work. Something to keep in mind when you look at this knife. I like that. Loctite, it is a frame lock, and when we do lock up, we are engaged at, I would say, a good 50% right there. Let's see, are we at 50% over here as well? Yeah, we're a good 50% over here as well. Yeah, so, and no blade rock, nice and solid. No detent lash, no, a pivot lash. Let's see. Locks in pretty good. No detent lash. Let's go over here and do the same on this one, because we have two. Yeah, why not? No detent lash. Locks in pretty good. Yeah. No pivot lash, sorry, and no detent lash. So everything's solid. It's good. It's really well put together. Got 2 screws, minimum hardware as far as I'm concerned, 2, and then the pivot over here, no pivot, just 2. So that's nice, and it's nice and contoured. You can see the contoured shape, which makes it very comfortable, especially in here with the cutaway. Everything's nicely rounded. This is not flattened out, but you have good access to it, and it's not a real hard lock bar to push back. It's been tuned to be relatively light. Like I said, we'll talk a little bit about this in a second, some of the other details, but that's the materials. All right. Let's go ahead and do some measurements. Let's do a little weight measurement. So we'll go ahead and measure the two and kind of get an average between the two. It's always nice to have a sample of 1 and 2. So let's get over 2 ounces. Here we go. All right, so this one is 3.47 ounces. So we're looking at 3.47 ounces for one, 3.49 ounces for the other. So we're right at almost the 3.5 ounce area. So that's not bad. 3.5 ounces overall. Let's do a little measurement for lengthwise. So these should probably be exactly the same. So if we do overall length, we are looking at, I'm going to say 7 1/4 of an inch, probably right at 7 1/4 of an inch, maybe 7 1/8 of an inch. We're just a little over 7 1/8 of an inch. They listed as 7.13, which seems fair. Let's look at the overall handle length. You have about 3.5 inches, maybe 3 5/8 for the overall handle length, which makes sense. Like I said, I have medium to medium large hands, large widthwise, medium lengthwise. I have plenty of room on here with my large hands. Extra large hands, you're going to get close to the edge. Double extra large hands, you'll probably be using a little bit of that. You could sort of choke up, but I don't recommend it. It's kind of rounded here, and it gets you really close to that sharpening choil. So, take it for that. If you like smaller knives with bigger hands, you'll like it. If you don't, you may have a little issue with that, and it may be a little too small for you. Just something to think about. All right, let's look at the overall blade length. Going from the tip to the back, we are right at about 3 1/8 of an inch, definitely over 3 inches. Cutting length, we are looking at probably, I want to say 2 7/8 or 2 15/16. So it's right under 3 inches. So, I mean, depending on your laws, if it's the blade only, some places consider it not because they think eventually you could sharpen all the way there. So they consider that part of the blade, right? So, take that with a grain of salt. All right, so let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness. And we'll go ahead and get an average between the two as well. All right, so we'll go ahead and see what we got here. 121 thousandths of an inch. Let's do this one over here. Oh, I think my battery's almost dying. I think I need to get a new battery. What do you think? Ooh, just come on. Just one more. Just one more. I just need it to last for one more review. Come on. There we go. So we had 121th. So this is 119 thousandths of an inch. So we're looking at 0.11, 0.12 inches. So, pretty relatively thin blade, which allows it to be kind of a nice slicer and comes to a nice thin edge. I like that a lot. So there you go. All right, so the price, what are we looking at? This is $210, so it's definitely not in the high-end category, but it's definitely not a budget knife. It's in a regular category. For $210, I think it's a pretty good deal what you get. Nice titanium, contoured, really great action, 20 CV blade steel. I mean, are there other options out there? Yeah, I mean, there are, but this is just a nice little compact, very smooth action, very contoured, nice shape kind of a knife. I like that a lot, and I think a lot of people will enjoy that. There's just a nice aesthetic to it. It's very comfortable. I mean, is it something like revolutionary in design? No, it's not, but it has a very clean profile in the look, and I like that. I think that's kind of cool. So, for a regular knife, I think that's kind of nice. Use, EDC, absolutely great EDC. It's it's not a large knife. We're looking at the 7-inch. We're not looking at a full-size knife, but it's not a super small compact knife either. So it's definitely very usable in that regard. I like that. Hard use, I think so. Frame lock, I mean, it's going to be in there. It's going to be solid as long as you got a good presentation. You're comfortable with it. You got that jimping. That's not, the most functional jimping, but it works, right? It'll definitely be a slicer. It is a thinner blade, so you're not going to be out there chopping wood or cutting down trees with your knife. If you're going to do that, get a fixed blade or get an axe. I mean, literally, just don't use the right tool for the right job, right? This is a good EDC. Now, what you consider hard use, if you consider hard use cutting cardboard, if you consider, working, opening mulch and fertilizer, cat food, dog food, whatever, just, breaking down cardboard, yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be great. If your hard use is you're going to go out and you're going to, cut out marble out of the, out of the bedrock, then no, absolutely not. It's not going to be that kind of hard use. Is it a collection piece? Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you consider collection piece. If you like this aesthetic, you really enjoy it, and it really speaks to you, I think it absolutely could be a collection piece. But I think it's not necessarily designed as one of those fancy collection pieces. It's meant to be a user knife, and I think it does a great job as that. Now, overall design, I like the design. I like the rounded, contoured shape of the handle. It's comfortable. Everything is rounded there. It's really comfortable in hand. There's no hot spots. I can squeeze tightly. Really comfortable in there. Frame lock keeps it nice and solid. The blade, there's no blade rock. It's in there really great. Action is beautiful for closing. I really like that. I think that's just a nice touch. Typically you get that if you a little higher end knife, or you put Skiffs or something in there, some nice washers, but that is really, really smooth. And so I like that. I think there's a lot of benefit to that. I like the flipping. The flipping works well. You can do the light switch. It works well, but I think the push button really gives you the best actuation, the best deployment, and it's really nice and solid. Is it a strong detent? No. Some people are going to complain it's a little weaker, so you could tune it in to be a little stronger if you wanted to. Certainly for some people who like much stronger detent. I would consider this, for me, in the medium detent area. It's not hard detent or anything, so I think that's kind of cool. As far as fidget factor, so you have the flipper, and the flipper is done well. Works really nicely, right? And you can middle finger flick it, which is a nice bonus. So, it's not one of those super satisfying flippers, like my Sharp by Design, Evo Typhoon, or my Chavez Redemption, that the 229 kickstop. It's not one of those crazy, or a Shirgorov, it's not one of those fantastic flippers. So I'm not going to give this as far as a high fidget factor. I will give this like a good solid, I'll give it a 5.5 out of 10, 5.5. It's definitely, if you love flipper only, you're gonna love this knife. If you need a little bit more, you have a little bit more. It's not like primarily, you can definitely middle finger flick it, so that's nice. It's not the primary design, but it works well, right? So that's there. So take that for what if that's enough for you as far as that. Now, out of the fidgety goodness of what it does, I like the flipper. I mean, it's like I said, it's not a Shirgorov. It's not a Evo Typhoon. It's not a Chavez kickstop for sure. So, but I'm going to give this a good solid 85, 90. So I'll give it a B plus, certainly a B plus as far as I'm concerned. I like it. I think it's good. It's close to being an A. If you tune it, you could probably easily tune this to an A. So give it a 90. Absolutely. It's not my knife. I can't tune it. I can't take it apart. It's part of the pass around. It's a prototype, so we're not going to be doing anything with these, right? We're just trying these out and giving the word out and giving our experiences with the knife. So I'm going to leave it at that. Now, fidgety goodness, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and do 85. If I could tune it, I probably easily could get it to an A by making the detent just a little bit stronger, and that's what I would probably do, right? Because in this case, a little stronger detent would be nice. I mean, this is almost like exactly how I would want a detent if I was going to do a little front flipping, or if I was doing a little middle finger reverse flicking like that, right? To get that middle finger reverse flicking, really the best place is down here low, like that. If I go a little high, I don't get as much leverage, and I don't get that flat grind area where I'm really leveraging the best contact point. So anyways, but in case you buy it, I'm just gonna say the best place to reverse flick it is gonna be right around down here. So you do that, oops, did I just miss it? Yeah, missed it. So that to me is the best leverage for that reverse flicking. I like that, I like it. I think it's cool. It's not like, oh, blow my socks off kind of cool, but it's definitely cool. So as overall thoughts and my thoughts, is it recommended? Yeah, I think it's recommended for what it does. I mean, it's a cool little knife for the design. If it's the size is right for you and the aesthetic is right for you, I would recommend this knife. Everything about the knife is nice. I like it. The flipping is great. The action is fantastic. The shape of the knife, the contour is comfortable. It fits in the hand. It's really well designed. Everything's nice and rounded. There's no hot spots. It works. It's a nice thin blade. It's a slicer. It's got good blade steel, good titanium, a lot of great weight relief, which I think is fantastic. Matter of fact, this particular budget, I just noticed that this is number 38 out of 150, and then this one right here is number 66 out of 150, right? So This one is stonewashed, and this one's bead blasted. You know, that's the only difference between the two. It depends on what you like as far as the design. So there you go. All right. I'm definitely going to recommend it. So let's go ahead and do some up close pictures of this, just so we can kind of look at the between the two. I think that would be nice to see the two. So there we go. All right, let's go ahead and do a nice little reverse here. We'll get a little reverse kind of view of the back. Compare the two. What do you think? You can see the stonewash to the bead blasted, right? That's kind of nice. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and do the. So we'll go ahead and see. Can I do this? No, it's next to impossible. So I'm gonna have to do this together like that. Here we go. Can see that. I think that's pretty nice. All right, I'm doing a nice little close-up. And I'm going to, just for the sake of, so you guys can see how it's nice and rounded all the way across here, you can see the relief in there and there. I'm going to look at the blade, kind of nice close-up of the blade. Let me make sure I get it focused. Come on, focus. Here we go. Nice focus on the blade. And here we go. Nice lock-up over here. It's got some nice jimping. We'll look at over here with the clip. Right there. I think all that is really nice. And there's the jimping on the flipper. You all see that? And that's pretty functional. That's functional jimping. It's similar to this, but this works over here because there's enough traction, right? Over here, usually you want something that's not going to make you slide because you're much harder pushing over here. Here, you just want enough where there's friction so you can keep your finger from slipping off, right? And that does it, and because the detent is not super strong, the jimping is, to me, works. This works okay. It would be nice if you tune the detent a little stronger. The jimping might be nicer to be a little more aggressive, but for what it is right here like this, it works. All right. Now, for some people, you know, like I said, some people I think it's a little soft. Other people, I think it's tuned really nicely. I like the tuning of the detent on this particular one. I think it's pretty nice. So that's my overall thoughts. Hey, if you have any questions or any thoughts, feel free to comment down below. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions about the knife, the channel, please let me know. I do try to reply and engage with everyone in the comments. I do appreciate that. And if you have any questions for the channels, any ideas for Rob's Ramblings, I would love to hear from you. I do enjoy that. That's part of this, the whole thing of doing the channel that I really, really enjoy. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, entertaining, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? I really, really appreciate that. And if you have already hit the like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the channel and the videos really helps me out, allows me to produce more content, allows me to do more things for the channel, and ultimately more things for you guys. So I really, really appreciate that. And if you haven't already, maybe consider hitting the notification button so you can be notified of future content. And if you haven't already, consider being a channel member. I would love to have some of you guys join and become channel members. That would be awesome. You don't have to. Keep enjoying the content, but if you're inclined to want to support the channel, I would be greatly appreciative. And if you haven't already, maybe check me out over on Instagram. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Hey, thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.